What's going on, everybody? This is Tempest Wing, and it's another episode 3 of the Herald, which is, if you don't already know, the premier NALCS podcast. I almost forget the name of it every time. The full title, but I think I stuck the landing there. And what a week it's been. It's been busy for me. It's been busy for you. It's been busy for the LCS teams, and we're just gonna get down. We're gonna get down to it because there's a lot to talk about. The name of this episode, which might be the first name that actually has to do with something I'm gonna talk about, is things don't work out as intended for the Golden Guardians. I guess that's the first team I'll talk about. It would make sense for me to start with the teams that actually played well and got some wins, and the Golden Guardians are neither of those things. But I'm going bottom up. Started from the bottom, and we're still at the bottom with Golden Guardians. Basically, started out well in both their games. Who do they play? They played CLG and FlyQuest. Basically, coordinated plays around the map. High maybe has something to do with this, sort of play style where they try to get together. Contracts going balls deep on people, sometimes backfiring. He played Rengar and Jarvan, and honestly, a lot of his engages were pretty questionable. I liked his aggression, but sometimes it's just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And this is maybe just like the week of over aggressive junglers, because I can think of a couple junglers in my mind that I'll talk about later. Cough cough, rain over, cough cough, Lyra, that just seemed like they were clowning around in the enemy jungle and just kind of getting caught out. Questionable engages, as I said earlier. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. But basically, to recap, Golden Guardians major lead over. I'm watching the VOD, right, and it's the reason why I'm harping so much on the Golden Guardians is because I watched all of the games as VODs, so I already knew the outcome of the game going into the VOD, and I'm just like, how the fuck does Golden Guardians lose this game? It was Golden Guardians, FlyQuest, and TSM Echo Fox, where I'm like, how the fuck does TSM not just win this game right now? But we'll get into TSM later. That's another story. I mean, it comes down to they're knocking down FlyQuest base, and a lot of these games run together. So excuse me for skimming over some of the details. But basically, they get to the point of the game where they have Baron. I think they have maybe one or two inhibs down, and it basically comes down to, I mean, FlyQuest looked discombobulated in this week in general, but it basically comes down to them kind of getting their shit together and playing this comp that's a lot of CC. They have Flame on Ornn and Onda on Zac. So they basically have Ornn covering the front line, Onda diving the back, or Zac diving the back line, and they win a couple late game team fights. They had a Braum in there and well. And then here's the other thing with FlyQuest is you've got Wild Turtle, right? So if you're Golden Guardians who are playing against FlyQuest, or any team playing against FlyQuest, and you're not killing Wild Turtle like 4 or 5 times a game, you're not doing your job, because that motherfucker, I mean, he's on Ezreal and he has a Braum, so they figured it out. They're like, all right, this is what we have to do. I mean, he's still flashing in, doing crazy shit, but he's slowly racking up some kills, and Keen in the mid lane is sort of quietly, CSing, hitting creeps, doing whatever you need to do to accumulate gold in this game, as I'm told. And they're getting stronger as the game goes on. So neither of them really get shut down too hard, and it's pretty much just it's a lot of Onda getting caught out and a lot of stunt, kind of like. Actually, was it stunt? I'm mainly criticizing Onda, I feel like, in getting caught out perhaps, but. Yeah, it comes down to a couple crucial late game team fights, and that's all it takes when it's the game's that long, and then FlyQuest win. And then with CLG, it was sort of the opposite, where it was almost like they're almost like too hesitant in some ways in the FlyQuest game that allowed the game to get drawn out. And then in CLG, they kill Reignover, and then they're like, fuck it, let's Baron. And then they're all at like half health. And then they're like, shit. And then CLG, I think, like, almost aced them, and then they get Baron. But then, I mean, rolling into the CLG segment of this video, CLG, gifts them a Baron like 10 minutes later, and the game gets stalled out. I'll tell you what, this week is all about, things not going as intended for Golden Guardians is not exclusive actually to Golden Guardians. It's a lot of these teams where the Barons go back and forth, the games are 50 minutes long. I'm clawing my eyes out, but yeah, it's just the objectives sort of we're kind of poor this game in a lot of cases. But hey, I'm starting with the negatives. I'm gonna get all the negatives out of the way. All these less than okay teams. So that's it for Golden Guardians. Don't want to bash them too hard. I mean, the bright spot is, they can get these early leads. It's just some of these just very questionable calls, and you just gotta wonder is this high? Is this are there other shot callers on the team? What are these people thinking? Because if they cannot get the team play down and the decision making down, that's kind of their strength. Individually, not looking too good. And we did see definitely on the Callista in the game against FlyQuest, they're giving him a lot of kills, and it's like, all right, is he going to carry? No, he's not really. So they're 0-4. I have them going 0-6 next week. We'll get to predictions later, but yeah, not too good from Golden Guardians. I guess the next sort of tier almost of teams is a little more positive because they did rack up some wins in the old week 2, which I'll say this. Congratulations to TSM, CLG, and who's the other team? C9. I had all three of those teams going 0-2, and they all went 1-1. So good for them. A win's a win. Some of the wins were more deserved than others. CLG, I'll just go ahead into them because I already mentioned the game against Golden Guardians, but they play Clutch, and Clutch is a team where I don't think they're that good either. And I'll get into that. Man, all these stories link into each other. But CLG lose to Clutch, and that was the game. Oh my God, that was the game when Febevin has 12 kills, gets a pentakill on his ear, and Febevin played that game very well, and he played that particular fight very well. But God damn it, Azir is so busted right now. If you're not picking Azir or banning Azir, you got to have a plan to deal with it. And I felt like CLG were just funneling him kills. Even in an interview with, I think it was an interview with Travis, Febevin's yeah, I've never gotten so many free fucking kills in my life. And it's yeah, they're just lambs to the slaughter in this game with CLG. But I think Reignover died first blood. Was it both games? I know Lyra gave up first blood in both games. I know Reignover died first blood in the Clutch game. And then I'll have to hand it to him. I did think that in this game that the Clutch bot lane played well. I mean, let's not mince words here. I think Stixay, after seeing another week of him, the positioning on that guy, he's playing frontline Ezreal, frontline. I think he was playing Ezreal that game, frontline Tristana, and it's yes, you are playing champions that could leap away, but God damn it, dude! Whew, getting very close to the fire there, and definitely getting burned this week. But props to Apollo and Hakuho, his support, who I definitely know the name of. Hakuho and Apollo. They had Varus Morg that game, and they were making some shit happen in the bot lane. The fight that Azir got the pentakill in, I'm pretty sure they set that up or helped set that up as well. Lyra was on Zac, which is also high CC, but Febevin played that fight by basically just sort of waiting, not waiting, but basically just kind of playing around his team with the CC that they had with the Morg binding, the Varus ult, the Zac. And he did have like, I mean, I don't want to call it like a. It was a good Azir ult, but it wasn't anything special. Like he ults two people away from him that are about to like dive him, and I think it was like the Sejuani and someone, or the Sejuani and someone else, and then it's like, all right. Oh, you know what? I said Reignover died first blood. Actually, it must have been Lyra that died first blood because he died in both of his games. I don't know. Lyra and Reignover, I'm confusing together because they both played Sejuani and Zac this week, and they both were underwhelming and were caught out in the enemy jungle. So those two get poor marks for me this week, but I'll give you the good marks to obviously Febivin, gets a good mark. Apollo and Hakuho, but then in CLG's game against fucking who was it? Who did they beat? Golden Guardians. Yeah, I'll give some props to Huhi and maybe Darshan. I guess Darshan and Huhi. Actually, Darshan. The thing with Darshan is I basically predicted them to lose because he was going against Lorlo, and I was thinking, all right, it's up to Darshan to sort of help carry this game, and I don't believe he can. And, he sort of stepped up to the plate there. I thought he did a good job basically transitioning the initial Baron. The weird thing where they like gave up the second Baron was also due to this, which may have been a negative, but he was sort of like split pushing bot with Ryze and was able to basically crack open the Golden Guardians base. And there wasn't really an answer to the Ryze, which he's with that freaking thing that he can do with the Zanya's portal out. That just gives you an easy getaway. But anyways, yeah, I thought Darshan looked pretty good this week, even in their loss, and so I don't think he looked amazing, but I thought he looked like, it's like CLG, it's like there's this weird thing that they keep doing where they like get rid of their players that are like strong, like I guess personalities or like shot callers, and now they're just left with like a bunch of people that don't really know how to do that. Like they have Reignover, who's always played with Huni. They have Bio, who's always played with Doublelift. They have Stixay, who's always played with Aphromoo. And it's like, well, if Aphromoo... And then they don't have Xmithie anymore either. And it's like, you see Xmithie go to Immortals, and he's like the team captain, and he's like leading shit. And then now on Liquid, he's calling a lot of the plays. And then on fucking Aphromoo, looks pretty solid on 100 Thieves. So the thing with CLG, it's like, all right, if you're keeping the players you have, some of them need to step up to the plate. And for me, it's Huhi and Darshan. And it's looking that they're like maybe starting to do that, but definitely need to see more from them. And CLG for me is definitely still a pretty weak team. Talked a lot about them. Let's try to speed things up, as in I will try to speed things up. Moving on to TSM. Wow. Okay. TSM, very slow, methodical play style. God damn it, they will not step 1 inch out of line if they think there's even the slightest possibility the play will backfire on them. And that sort of backfired on them anyways against Echo Fox. But let's talk about the Optic game first, because that game happened on Saturday. Basically, Optic, Acadian, making some plays, gets a couple kills early game, but it doesn't matter. TSM have the gold lane because all of TSM's lanes are just straight up winning. And they get first tower, and they basically kind of stall the game out from there. Optic is making a lot of the proactive plays. Mike Young is playing Evelynn, and I forgot who exactly Optic had. It was a Braum and a Sejuani, and basically CC bots. And Evelynn is not having a lot of successful flanks. She's doing the old reach around where she tries to enter the fight from the back and blow people up. At the end, the last fight, she does end up doing that indeed. But and then like TSM, like I understand, like if you have Baron, you obviously don't want to like greed and like try to dive towers that you would have never ordinarily you would have never even dreamed of trying to dive, but you do it anyways because you have Baron. But god damn it, TSM, like just like I think it took them 2 or 3 Barons to like close out the game, but it's like 60 minutes, like or yeah, that was like another 60-minute game. It's like I feel like I feel like you could be doing this a little faster. And then same thing against Echo Fox. All right, this is a good. I mean, I'll talk about Echo Fox later as to how they were sort of dealt with. But the thing with TSM was they basically it was sort of the same thing where they were getting leads and they were beating down the base. And Echo Fox did have some insane team fights at the end of that game. But it was basically just like they weren't. I felt like they just weren't forcing enough. Like they had the pressure, they had the vision, they had everything. They're in the base. I mean, they were down to like they took all 3 inhibitors. I'm pretty sure at one point, maybe just 2. But and somehow they're still losing just because they're playing these fights wrong, or they're not good, forcing enough with their leads. And TSM, it's like they looked better because they were getting, they're usually down in kills, but they were getting objectives and getting Barons, but it's just like just didn't matter. I feel like they're still pussyfooting, but I think they're maybe, they looked better. Believe it or not, they looked better than they did last week. I predicted they would lose to Optic, and a win in a 60-minute game, you can, win's a win, but you can think what you will about that one. And then I'll just go ahead and move into Echo Fox because this week Echo Fox went 4-0 and I thought they would go 4-0, but this week I think did expose some weaknesses. First off, I just remembered why TSM was losing. Dardoch and Phoenix/Zoe. I thought Dardoch was popping off this week. He played the Zac in the TSM game. Or was it the Sejuani? He played Zac and Sejuani this week. I don't remember which games they were in, but basically tank champions, high CC, and he knew where to be on the map. He wasn't getting like all sorts of kills, but he knew where to be on the map, and he could read the enemies like a book. I'm pretty sure it was in the Cloud9 game he was playing Sejuani. Does the predictive Sedge, predicts the flash from Licorice. Good shit from him. But this week definitely exposed some weaknesses to Huni, I would say, because just that he could be played around. For instance, Hanser, they dove him to give him, or they didn't give him the first blood, but they killed Huni for first blood. TSM Mike Young and Bjergsen, I believe, roamed for that. Or no, maybe it was Jarvan and Gangplank in the top lane. All these games are running together. Anyways, they shut down Huni, and then basically they do the same thing with Cloud9 kind of does the same thing where Licorice is on Jace into Huni, and they basically gank top early before Dardoch can really get up there and do anything. But Huni started off both games at a deficit. And it was later on. I mean, the Gnar game, he basically just came back into team fights and fucked people up anyways. I mean, that's just an impactful champion regardless, and Huni's an impactful player either way. But, I think I Echo Fox going forward. And then the fucking TSM game. Phoenix got Zoe. That champion is so dumb. Like, Phoenix played it good, but not, like, amazing, similar to... what's his face on the Azir? Febivin on the Azir. It's just like if you're playing Zoe, yeah, you're gonna like if you get the sleep bomb, you're gonna one shot someone. Like I think Phoenix is a good player, but I mean he was playing fucking Zoe, so enough said. So we'll have to see with Echo Fox going forward. Let's speed it up a little bit. Who else do I even need to talk about? I might just go into predictions. It's already trying to keep things a little bit shorter this week. Last week episode was about an hour. Didn't really intend for that to happen. Just went for it and there it was. But maybe this one will be closer to half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. But I'll remember that's a lot of the main stuff I wanted to talk about this week. Once we get into the predictions, I'll have more to say about these teams. But let's Let's not. I realize it's hard. It's hard to really touch on every team. I maybe hit. Unfortunately, I hit all the shitty teams because that was just me complaining. But I didn't. I mean, I didn't have much to say about TL. What can I say about TL? I mean, I thought that they played the same comp against Clutch, like literally the exact same comp, same 5 champions: Gangplank, Gragas, I just said Pobelter, Malzahar, Tristana, Tarek. That's the they smashed TSM with that comp. They smashed Clutch Gaming with that comp. It's a good comp. In their loss against, who was it? They lost to 100 Thieves in a game where 100 Thieves basically got the jump on them. They said, "We know that you like to play around bot. Someday teleports bot." They get a 4-man gank off, and they pretty much steamroll the game from there. Sort of a few falters at the mid lane in the mid phase where TL does get a Baron, but I thought TL. I mean, you could say I would say the only question mark was Smithy, and in some cases Ole looked like they were out of position in that game, but yeah, I mean it's a 1-1 week for TL, but they had a pretty tough schedule, so what are you gonna do? But yeah. All right, let's get to these predictions. I don't need much to start rambling about these teams. All right, week 3 predictions. First matchup: CLG versus Echo Fox. I'm giving this to Echo Fox, but the caveat. See, I feel like a lot of these. I feel like I didn't really pick any upsets this week. I'm going pretty by the book. I know I had some spicy ones last week where I was saying TSM, CLG, C9 were going to go 0-2, but I did these a little more by the book. I've seen 4 games now from all these teams, and some of these are going to be a little boring. So I'm going to add the caveat of I'll do devil's advocate of how the other team could come back into this game. But I'm giving it to Fox, Echo Fox. But both these teams like to play around top. We've seen consistently the 3-man from Darshan, Rainover, and Huhi in the top lane, trying to get Darshan ahead. So Darshan needs to be playing Gangplank, Vladimir, something punchy, maybe Jace, something that he can carry with. And CLG are just hoping to God that he can carry, because it's not going to be this bot lane, and Huhi's more of a team player anyways. So and it's interesting because, as I referenced earlier, with C9 and TSM, we've seen how they're able to shut down Huni, and I need to see, sort of another carry step forward that isn't fucking Zoe or Phoenix on Zoe. But I think Dardoch will. I feel like Rainover is just going to get caught out again. Dardoch's going to read him like a book. He's going to get caught out, and the whole thing is kind of going to crumble from there. The bot lane's not going to do anything. I think Echo Fox might actually have a better bot lane from what I've seen. Adrian, they both played the Taric. I think Adrian has a better Taric than Bio, but maybe not by a lot. And even if Huni gets fucked over, Dardoch can gank other lanes. So I think Dardoch is the player to watch in this. I think Dardoch on Fox and Darshan, the Darshan on CLG. Those will be the players to watch. Moving on to the next matchup, C9 versus Optic. This one's fairly straightforward, giving it to C9. C9 looked pretty, All right, I gotta say this. I got some positive things to say. I saw Sven's Garen week 1, and I was like, this guy's inting again. It's the same old shit from TSM. Week 2, he looks a lot better. Steals Baron as Jax against Echo Fox, the game that they lost, but his play was much improved, I would say. Just put him on Sejuani duty, He played Sejuani in their game that they won against 100 Thieves, which I predicted them to lose that game. That was a tough week for C9 going against Echo Fox and 100 Thieves, and they really they impressed me in the 100 Thieves game. But they have these creative picks, which is another thing, because Licorice now has played Kled and Camille, both I believe as counter picks to Camille was a counter pick to Gnar, I'm pretty sure, and no, who is he playing against? Anyways, both good counter picks. I think it was Gnar. It was some days Gnar, I'm pretty sure. Some days pretty much only played Gnar so far this season. I think. Some of these best of ones is just like you only see like people. I'm starting to associate people with like one champion because that's all they play. But Licorice, beast set on the Kled, beast set on the Camille, and then Jensen. He pulls out the Zillion against as a counter pick to Malzahar, and you see who he trying to emulate it later, and it just doesn't go as well. And also he pulled out the Talia. I believe Keen also played Talia to not a great effect, but in this Jensen versus PoE matchup, I think Jensen's got the upper hand for sure. Even if PoE pulls out his Syndra, I'm sure Jensen has some counter pick. And then Optic really relied on basically a pick comp with Syndra and Kha'Zix from PoE and Acadian, but I don't see them. I think Cloud9 is just too smart and a little too coordinated to really get caught out by that sort of thing. And I think Licorice versus Zig in the top lane is definitely going to be the one to watch. I think they're going to play around Licorice. Jensen on the roam, Svenskeren on the roam. That narrative is sort of coming to fruition. We're seeing it more and more where Svenskeren and Jensen will buddy up, try to get Licorice ahead, and they're ganking Zig, who I don't think is a very good top laner. So that's their win condition. And then the Optic win condition is like maybe Acadian and PoE pop off and get a fucking, another Kha'Zix that's just like one-shotting people. So, but I think C9's going to win that one. All right, let's keep it rolling. Clutch versus 100 Thieves. I'm giving it to 100 Thieves. Even though they lost to Cloud9, I thought they look stronger than Clutch. I this week made me lose a little faith in Clutch because it's basically Febiven is. We've seen Febiven. He always looks. Maybe in 3 out of the 4 games he's looked good. But they've only won 2 of those games, and maybe you're thinking 2 out of 3. That's not bad. But Febiven's coming in, and he's got to carry this team because none of these other players. It was supposed to be the Febiven and Lyra show, but Lyra, especially this week, I'm not seeing it. Lyra's goofing around. He's playing Zac, and he's diving in and dying, invading the other jungle and the enemy jungle, doing hanging out at enemy wolves, just dying. Doesn't make any sense to me, but Febiven's got to be the carry on this team. And then Apollo and Hakuho, when they play, I think they have to play like utility champions because when they're playing Caitlyn, or when he's playing Caitlyn, and he's not getting pressure from Lyra, he's getting dove by Smithy. It's not looking good. I thought Apollo and Hakuho looked good in their game against CLG, which arguably they're the better laners, but they were playing utility Morgan Varus. I don't want to harp on that too much, but they're more of the I think they're more of the utility style. And Solo's looked he's looked okay, but he's nothing special. And Lyra's inting, so it's got to be the Febiven show, and it's not at the moment. So it's less of what does 100 Thieves have to offer, and I mean you can go down the list. I mean, someday Meteos versus Solo Lyra. I mean, someday I think right now is probably I'm gonna give it to someday as the best top laner right now. Maybe barely edged over Huni, and then Apollo Hakuho are like I'm calling them like the gatekeepers. Like if you're a bad bot lane, they're the bot lane to beat to be considered a mid to good bot lane. Like Apollo and Hakuho. Definitely better against the bottom half of the league, but definitely not as good against the top half. And I think Cody Sun Aframu, that's looking like one of the better bot lanes in the league right now. But this team, I mean, they're just going to shut down. I mean, they can shut down other lanes. I mean, I've seen Ryu. Ryu could go on the roam to either bot or top, but I mean, the top side of the map is just getting banged in my opinion. Solo and Lyra are just their days are numbered. I haven't seen too many misplays out of Meteos so far, but well, yeah, this one's 100 Thieves for sure. All right, next is FlyQuest TL. I'm giving it to TL. Woo! Wild Turtle, man. I mean, he's trying to prove me right. He's doing his best. He's like, hey, I'm gonna like flash into like 5 people and try to like get that last Varus auto attack that's gonna kill someone, and then hope to God I get out of the team fight. So let's put stun on like Lulu, and let's put Wild Turtle on Ezreal. I don't even know if that's a good bot lane, but stunts on like Nanny Duty playing this fucking Lulu in one of their games, and it's still not working out because Wild Turtle's flashing in as Varus, which doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, TL. I felt like I was like in like that movie Groundhog Day where the guy wakes up and everything's the same every day, because I was talking about how TL1 ran the exact same comp against against Clutch as they did TSM, with the basically double if Trist, Ole, Tarek, and then Xmithy's on Gragas. And they did like the same gank where Xmithy runs in and then double lift has the Tarek stun on him and then he jumps in. And they managed to, I mean, basically what happened differently is Apollo flashed correctly and didn't still get tagged by the stun like Sven did. But I can just see either Wild Turtle already doesn't have flash, or he fucks up his flash and tries to flash in for something, and Xmithy just rolls in, does the same old shit, and that lane's just toast. And then I don't know how this mid. I mean, here's the thing: if they get Fly, I almost like I don't want to rate this team worse, but it's like, they haven't even been practicing with Fly. They've been practicing with Keen for 2 weeks now. I feel like Fly, regardless of if he's better or not, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll just assume he's about the same as Keen, or if assuming he's a carbon copy of Keen. I mean, I don't think that makes too much of a difference. I thought Onda looked a little more inconsistent this week, so I'd give Xmithy the edge over there. But Xmithy does have weird moments where he gets caught out in enemy jungle, and yeah, so that could be a weak point in TL. Also, maybe the top lane, Flame versus Impact. I feel like that goes fairly even, but I'd maybe even give the edge to Flame there. I don't know, but I just think this FlyQuest bot lane, especially Wild Turtle, Xmithy is coming for you. So that's that. Next matchup, TSM versus Golden Guardians. I'm pretty much just giving. I don't want to sound lazy, but I'm saying Golden Guardians is going to lose every game. But I think TSM Golden Guardians is going to go the same way that TSM Optic went, where even if TSM gives up a couple early kills, their lanes are just all better. All their lanes are going to win. Contracts is going to fuck something up, and then they're going to get Baron, and then they're going to get 5 more Barons, and then they're going to win the game 70 minutes later. TSM is just so annoying to watch right now because they take forever to win, and then sometimes they don't even do it right. They don't even get the win anyways. So and then Golden Guard, and if you're the team, TSM for me is the team where you're just waiting for the other team to like fuck up, and boy is this the game for you, because you're playing against Golden Guardians who did that twice last week. So TSM, this is your ideal matchup. All you have to do is wait for about 30 minutes. Golden Guardians is gonna do something stupid, and then you're gonna win this game. All right, enough said. Let's keep the pace going. I think was that day 1 in the books? Yeah, not that it even matters. Anyways, day 2, Echo Fox versus Optic. As much as I'd love to play devil's advocate here, which I guess I haven't really been doing for these last couple, Echo Fox is gonna win this. I mean, this is another one where my boy Zig is gonna get banged in by Huni Dardoch. I mean, who else was Echo Fox playing? Oh, they're playing CLG. Yeah, CLG I could like conceive a way where like they could play around top and sort of like shut down Huni. Echo Fox, I'm like, Acadian, he's probably going bot, if anything, or mid. He's playing, yeah. If he's playing a punchy like assassin champion, he's probably not going top. But I could be wrong. And it's like Zig. To me, Zig is like not who they would even want to play around because he's just sort of like the potato tank in the top lane. Like they got him on Maokai duty for real. Like it's just like, all right, don't fucking die. Flash into people at 0 health to see if we can get an extra kill or two in this team fight. Just purpose yourself for the team. He's a role player. I mean, I guess he's good at that, but I think Hootie Dardoch just bang in this top lane. Phoenix, he's playing Azir, he's playing Zoe, he's playing all these champions. I'm being hard on Phoenix, but I think Altec. I'll have to say of the two other carries, Phoenix and Altec, I'm liking what I see out of Altec. He's usually pretty smart in team fights. A few over enthusiastic rocket jumps in his Tristana game against TSM, but for the most part, I mean, I guess you could say he's a bit of a cleanup AD carry, but when you've got people like Stixay and Wild Turtle just running into people, I mean, Altec's looking better and better every day. So keep up the good work. But yeah, I'm giving that to Echo Fox. All right, TSM versus 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves is my vote because I think that all right, so basically TSM beat Optic, and I think they will beat Golden Guardians because they basically can wait for them to fuck up, and they can get advantages in their lanes. I actually, the whole laning thing, I would almost give to TSM, except for top. I think someday shits on Hanser, in my opinion. But I think 100 Thieves will have TSM's number. 100 Thieves have been playing around bot lane hardcore. That's how they beat TL. They started in the bot lane, sending 4 people down there. Ryu's gonna roam, and that's the thing. He can lose lane to Bjergsen, but he can actually roam and make up for it. So, and some days had some good TP plays. It's almost just like they're very coordinated as a unit, and they know how many what resources they need to expend to get the play, and then they can actually execute on it. So, even though TSM mid and bot I would favor, I just think that 100 Thieves in general just wins this one out with coordinated team play. I think Meteos looks better in the jungle than Mike Young at the moment. Mike Young, they're fucking around with these picks. I mean, I guess the Evelyn sort of worked and the Jarvan worked initially, but then they lost that game, so I don't even know. But just get Mike Young. I mean, he's this carry style player, but we're not really seeing a carry style from him, in my opinion. I don't really know. He looked very, very lethargic in week 1. Week 2, he's going for shit on Evelyn. It's not always working out. And then the Jarvan, I think Jarvan's the best champion for him because it's the right balance between aggressive and tank. I mean, it is you literally build full tank on Jarvan. Maybe Mike Young won't, but yeah. Put him on Jarvan. I'm not going to say Sejuani duty. Put him on Jarvan duty. That's my vote. And then Meteos will just play Sejuani into him and it'll get wrecked. But anyways, 100 Thieves. Chop chop. Next matchup, Golden Guardians versus TL. Moving on. No, just kidding. Golden Guardians versus TL, not moving on because TL's going to win that. And I'm going to tell you how. Because pretty much all of their lanes are better than Golden Guardians' lanes. And Xmithie and Contracts, oddly similar. I did see both of them either get... Contracts was probably a little bit worse about this, but Xmithie in the game against 100 Thieves got caught out a lot. So, who knows, but I think Xmithie, definitely the superior jungler here. It seems like they want Deathly to sort of low-key be their hyper carry. He's playing the Cog, he's playing the Callista. But they're, I mean, if they just play around bot, like I said, if it's the whole Groundhog Day gank where Xmithie comes in and Double Lift jumps in and they can get the Gragas barrel to knock him forward and Deathly's dead and they just sort of win the game that way. Because although we've seen Golden Guardians start out with these good leads, but we've never seen what they've had to do to win a game from behind, because they've been behind, they haven't won any games, and when they've been behind, they've just sort of turtled out. So that's a quickie. I'm moving on. I gotta wrap this up. 40 minutes. Said this wasn't gonna take an hour. It might. All right, Clutch versus C9. Giving it to C9 because of these two rookie top laners. I think not only Licorice is better, but he will be better played around. Expect to see roams from Jensen and Svenskeren to this top lane. Lyra is a goofball. He's goofing around in the enemy jungle, dying. I've kind of already said this. And Febivin, I think he will, even if he does play well, he may be a non-factor in this bot lane. Will also be a non-factor. So, also, you're going against Sneaky Smoothie, which I think is one of the top 3 bot lanes in North America. Just made that claim. Didn't really think about it, but maybe not top 3, but I think they're better than Apollo Hakuho. Let's just put it that way. All right. That one's going to C9. Rapid fire mode. CLG versus FlyQuest. This one's interesting because it's the 2 bot lanes that I think almost the least of. In Stixxay versus Wild Turtle, who will flash into who and kill who and look like more of an idiot than the other? It's really hard to tell. My guess is that maybe Stixxay has the edge here. I don't know. But basically, bot lane cancels out, and then I just think that the combination of Darshan, Reignover, and Huhi. Reignover, the joke there is Reignover, rein him in over. They need someone to rein in Reignover. And if they can get him to stop being a goofball like Lyra and dying in the enemy jungle, then I think that's a strong top side of the map. I've always said that, and I think that's how they good. They showed they do a good like split 1-3-1 split where Huhi and Darshan take the side lanes and pressure that, and I think that FlyQuest will not really know how to deal with that, and they'll kind of just go for the ARAM mid, and then, yeah. I'm giving it to CLG, and that does it. So I kind of sped through those last few. I'll try to pace myself better in the future, but you know me, I like to ramble on. I'll take a quick look at the standings after my predictions are correct. I think there's definitely a sort of tier list you can see. Top 4 is looking a little more clear to me. That would be Echo Fox, Cloud9, 100 Thieves, TL. And then there's this sort of tier in the middle where I think that, honestly, I think TSM should be, if they improve, if they continue. Right now, I'm not sure. Actually, even right now, they might be better than some of these other middle of the pack teams. But it's hard to see them do much worse. I mean, I'll have to look and see who they're playing in that's week 4. That's so fucking far away. But basically, yeah, these top 4 teams, we'll have to see. It'll be interesting to see like when they start playing each other more. Actually, and we sort of saw this week. You know, C9 playing Echo Fox and 100 Thieves, TL playing 100 Thieves. So most of these top teams have sort of gotten losses from one another, with the exception of. No, let's see. C9 lost to 100 Thieves. No, C9 lost to Echo Fox. 100 Thieves lost to C9. TL lost to 100 Thieves. So it's almost like a rock, paper, scissors scenario. So it'll be interesting to see if these 4 can kind of rise above the rest, because based on my predictions, they definitely will. I was going to do picks of the week. I'll skip picks of the week. The meta is very similar to what it was last week. I'm going to do a quick rapid fire. Azir, Zoe, again, obviously, just ban that fucking champion. Thought Ornn was a new, not a new one, but another one that I didn't mention last week. Zac / Sejuani in the jungle. Support, probably just Taric again. AD carry, probably Trist. If you can get 3 items on Trist, you kind of shit on your opponent. So, yeah. Little rush this week. Working on it. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching the video. Please leave comments. I think I've made, last week if no one flamed me over my ridiculous picks. Now I want to get flamed for my ridiculously safe picks. I haven't picked any upsets. One of these is bound to happen. Pick fights with me. This is my declaration of war. All people watching this video, talk shit in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. I'm gonna be, I'm not gonna fight back. I just want to hear some strong opinions that disagree with mine, because I'm never gonna learn how to think differently if no one challenges my beliefs. So there we go. Feel free to subscribe, like the video, dislike the video, do whatever the fuck you want. Bingo, bango, bongo. Welcome to YouTube. Tempest out.